Welcome to this video. We're going to be talking about the composition of rigid motions. This is aligned with IXL Geometry L10. So what is a rigid motion? Well, translations, rotations, and reflections are types of transformations known as rigid motion. This just means that they preserve distance in space. So the lengths of the sides of a polygon before and after transformation will always be the same. So whether it's a translation, a reflection, or a rotation, the polygon is not going to change. In other words, it looks the same before and after. That's a rigid motion. So when we combine together more than one rigid motion, this is actually called a composition of rigid motions. So look at the image below. How do we get ABC onto A prime, B prime, C prime? Obviously, we're not going to be able to translate it. We're not going to be able to just reflect it over there. And if we rotate it, it's going to be oriented actually the wrong way. So there's no one rigid motion that will get you from this triangle to this one. You got to use more than one. And so that's where the composition comes into play. So let's try some practice examples. This question asks us to graph the image of triangle HIJ after the following sequence of transformation. Rotation 180 degrees and the reflection over the x-axis. So rotation 180 degrees is going to take xy onto negative x, negative y. And the reflection across the x-axis is going to take xy to x, negative y. Let's write out each of the coordinates for h, I, and j. So coordinate of h is going to be negative 13, positive 3. The coordinate of I is going to be negative 10, positive 9, and then j is going to be negative 7, positive 3. So first we'll do the rotation 180 degrees, change both of the signs, so this will become 13, negative 3, 10, negative 9, and 7, negative 3. And then let's reflect over the the x-axis, by changing the y-coordinate sign. So this will become 13, positive 3, 10, positive 9, and 7, positive 3. Let's go ahead and graph these. So 13, 3 is going to be right here. So this is my h prime. Then 10, 9 is going to be right here. That's I prime. And 7, positive 3 is going to be right here, and that is j prime. So here's our triangle after the composition of rigid motions. Alright, let's try one more. Graph the image of the trapezoid WXYZ after the following sequence of transformations. A translation to left 1, down 15, and a reflection over the y-axis. Keep in mind, reflection over the y-axis is going to change the the sign of the x-coordinate. The y-coordinate will not be affected. So let's write out our coordinates. W is going to be at 13, 2. X is going to be at 9, 4. Y is going to be at 9, 8. And Z, 13, 10. So first translate. 13 minus 1 is 12. 12 minus 15 is negative 13. 9 minus 1 is 8. 4 minus 15 is negative 11. 9 minus 1 is 8. 8 minus 15 is negative 7. 13 minus 1 is 12. 10 minus 15 is negative 5. Next, we need to reflect across the y-axis, so the sign of the x-coordinate will change. The y will not be affected. So that becomes negative 12, negative 13, negative 8, negative 11, negative 8, negative 7, and negative 12, negative 5. So now we can graph it. Negative 12, negative 13 is going to be right here. That's W prime. Negative 8, negative 11 will be right here. That's X prime. Negative 8, negative 7 is Y prime. And negative 12, negative 5 is Z prime. So here's our result. Imagine we shift it to the left, then down, and then reflect it, and that's what we get. And that's it for this lesson. So go ahead now and try some practice on your own.